keep going. Brilliant. I'm gonna hand over to Jess now to get started. Over to you, Jess. Thanks for sharing, guys.
Thanks, Elena. So for those of you who this is your first time, you're not familiar with Think Productive, yes, as you can probably guess, we are into productivity, but crucially, we combine that with well-being. So we go into organisations where they have people who have too much to do and not enough time to do it in, which I'm sure we can all relate to, and we help them work smarter, not harder. Also, for 10 years, we've been working a 4-day week. We didn't want clients to think that we weren't around for them, especially on Fridays when we're off. So we didn't really make a big deal out of it. But it turns out people really do want to know about it. So here we are. We'll be revealing why we think it's the secret to a happy team for World Happiness Day, which is tomorrow. So for us, the 4-day week has unlocked something quite special in our organisation. It's needless to say, we're never going back to a 5-day week. I don't think we need to sell you on the idea that a 4-day week is good. It naturally makes us happier and more productive. And quite excitingly, like a couple of you mentioned in the chat, it feels like it's more in grasp for more people now. So even if for a 4-day week isn't something that you can achieve or isn't something that you can implement within your organisation, you can implement what we've learned during the 4-day week and unleash something quite special within your team. So this is Graham. He said, we are successful because of the 4-day week and not in spite of it. So a few of you have read Graham's books. I'm sure you know him quite well. But what do we mean by successful? Since we started the 4-day week 10 years ago, Think Productive has grown into a global company. So we're based all over the world. And our clients include top universities and global brands like Audi, eBay, American Express. Our staff turnover is really low. So when people join us, they like to stay. I joined Think Productive 5 years ago, well, longer than that now. And I'm not leaving anytime soon. But when people do leave, they become our biggest ambassadors. Like most companies, we've experienced fluctuations with our revenue and our profitability, but we've survived the will we, won't we, Brexit uncertainty years. Remember those? And we're currently navigating the horrendous global pandemic. But throughout all of this, we've remained 100% committed to our 4-day week and its ideals, simply because it's win-win for our people and for the business. Even during the dark winter of homeschooling, those with kids like Elena even went down to 2 or 3-day weeks instead of trying to fit 4 days in between Google Classrooms, which would have been a nightmare. This is because we recognise how transformative rest and recovery is for our happiness and our productivity. So to cut a long story short, we do the 4-day week because it's win-win. It's good for our people and it's good for our business. You may be thinking, well, what does your 4-day week look like? So we work the same length of day as someone who's on a 5-day week. So we work 9 a.m. till 5:30, and we always take a 1-hour lunch break away from our desks. We also work 1 Friday in every 4, so that's why we're here today. We call these our secret Fridays. It's a day where no one's expecting you to be there, so you can catch up if you've had a really busy week, or if you've had to take a day off because you've been feeling under the weather, you have that extra Friday there. Also, because we're a small team, it means that there's no impact on our clients. There's always somebody to cover on a Friday. And we did all of this with no drop in salary or holiday. So after 10 years, what have we found? We've boiled it down to 3 key bullet points for you. So we found that the 4-day week makes us more productive, it makes us more rested, and we're generally happier overall. Our relationship with work is healthier. And it goes back round in a virtuous circle. We're happier and we're more engaged. And so we're bringing our best selves to work, and that boosts our productivity. And this is borne out by the evidence. So in 2016, Gallup did a massive analysis of 1.8 million employees. The study showed that companies with highly engaged employees experienced a 10% higher customer loyalty, a 20% higher productivity, a 40% lower staff turnover, and a 21% higher profitability. And they found this across all 49 industries and all 73 countries that they studied. So looking back at the 3 bullet points I mentioned, we would like to flesh this virtuous circle out a little bit more. It's so much more than these 3 things, and it affects so many aspects of our work and home lives. So I'm going to pass over to Elena, who's going to go into this in a little bit more detail with some help from Toby the cat.
This is Toby, he's my cat Toby, and he's going to help us. He represents the 4-day week, an extra day of play. So let's start with the impact on productivity. So back at work, psychologically, knowing that every day is 1/4 of our entire week, our entire work week, it gives us a sharper focus, so we don't procrastinate as much. And it's just like that week just before you go on holiday, you know, where you know that every hour counts, and you just get really good at prioritizing, and it gives you permission to be ruthless in a good way. Yeah, so you just start to prioritize in terms of impact a bit more, and it gives us permission to ask questions like, do you really need me at this meeting? So this is what we call the pre-holiday productivity boost, and it's obviously great for the bottom line. And we get a natural, satisfying well-being boost from that as well, because it's satisfying when you're on fire and getting all the good work done, right? It feels good. We also said that the 4-day week naturally makes us more rested. It gives us a 3-day weekend, right? So that's proper time to rest and recover. And you'll all know from bank holiday weekends, and for those of you joining from outside the UK, you know, I think you guys mostly all know what, you know, when you have a long weekend, it's extended with a festive day at the end or at the start. That's what we call bank holidays here. You know, when you have those 3-day weekends, 3 days of rest feel like it feels infinitely longer than 2 days. And so on a Friday, we can choose to dedicate a whole day to life admin, like chores like laundry or mortgage applications or all that crap, and still have 2 full days to relax. It's a gift. And, you know, we've also found that it often takes a full day to like fully disconnect from work and to relax. And I'm sure you can all relate to that feeling at the weekend, that by the time you've finally switched off from work, it's actually Sunday, and you know it's almost time to go back. For us, with a 3-day weekend, by Saturday morning we've forgotten about work. You know, most weekends I forget about work, and you know, you get to completely switch off for 2 days, and this is obviously great for our happiness and well-being. So we're generally happier and less resentful, really, because we've had more time to ourselves and it's not felt like work is dominating our lives. But there's more. The rest, you know, it's obviously good for our well-being, but the rest also benefits our productivity. We regularly come into work on a Monday feeling refreshed, re-energized, and ready for action, a bit like that feeling after a holiday. So you can call this your post-holiday productivity boost. And because we've rested, we're solving problems and putting out fires from a place of perspective and clarity. instead of from a place of overwhelm or low morale. Jess, do you want to take over?
Yeah, so in the UK alone, there are 15.4 million sick days taken from work-related stress, depression and anxiety. And that was before the pandemic. So I can only imagine it's much worse now. And think of all the business, economic, health and social costs associated to those absences. And then think of all the people that still go into work ill, tired or stressed. You know, we've all done it. You end up making more mistakes. You struggle to problem solve. You're more distracted. You make crap decisions or decisions that just stick with the status quo because you're less open to new ideas and innovation.
Good luck competing with the robots.
So do not underestimate the importance of rest and recovery on the brain. The neuroscience tells us that our brains need a break and a change of scene to function optimally, and especially to think creatively, to think strategically and to come up with, you know, solutions to complex problems. With a 4-day week, we bring our best brains into work. We produce more good work for the bottom line, and that's another boost for well-being, because solving problems and coming up with ideas and getting shit done well feels really good. There is more, of course. We could go on, but here's a speedy run through of some more of the priceless benefits we found with the 4-day week. So because we cover more for each other on a Friday, we better understand and respect everybody's roles within the business, and it means we're constantly improving our handovers. So that's great for business continuity and efficiency. Because we're happier at work, we're less likely to leave the company, so staff turnover is lower. So we're not regularly suffering the costs and disruptions and loss of morale from losing team members, and it means that our team is a really strong unit because of it. The 4-day week is obviously also a massive perk, so it helps us recruit talent. And because we're happier at work, we're proud of where we work. So we're motivated and engaged, and we want the company to do well. So we're more aligned with its goals. And because we're more rested, we're less likely to get ill, or we'll probably be better by Monday. And because we're more rested, we have the energy to live fuller lives. So we have hobbies and we do volunteering and we have side hustles. So anyone who knows Elena will know that she loves improv comedy and she's in 2 troupes and she regularly performs in shows. Personally, I've had a food blog in the past. I've done catering businesses and had side hustles. I'm trying to write a book in my own time. So all these extracurricular activities are an endless source of inspiration, and helps us bring those skills to our projects at work. And so the wondrous virtuous circle of deeper well-being, authentic engagement and higher quality productivity continues. So the bottom line is just laughing. But we're not done yet. There is one more piece to the puzzle. Culturally, we found that the 4-day week has opened the door to something quite special within our organisation. And the beauty of it is that you can unleash that magic without a 4-day week. It does take some commitment, but it is so very worth it. So I'll hand over to Elena to tell us a little bit more about that secret.
Okay, before we make the reveal, I think it is important to explain what we mean by productivity. For us, it's about making space for what matters. In a world where the work never ends, rather than jumping in blindly into like another week of pointless meetings and endless emails, we ask ourselves, how do we really make space for what matters? So we ask ourselves questions like, when in the day is my attention at its peak? Am I protecting those precious 1 or 2 hours a day from distractions? Am I using those 1 or 2 hours to do my more complex, deep work? You know, the stuff that really adds value, like writing reports or, you know, analysing data, stuff like that. It's the stuff that's challenging but also gratifying, the stuff that helps me grow, the stuff that helps the organisation grow. We ask ourselves, am I regularly taking a step back to strategically review my projects? We ask our managers, can you help me prioritise my projects? And do you really need me at this meeting? All of this is what we mean by productivity, high quality productivity. So this is the key. Culturally, the 4-day week, it's opened the doors to this impact thinking, and we have fully embraced it as an organisation. Of course, like to, encourage this type of impact thinking and this type of questioning. This is brilliant for any business, whether or not you have a 4-day week. But for it to really take hold, everyone needs to feel psychologically safe asking these questions. So you need to build a culture of trust so that when someone asks, do you really need me at this meeting? Managers respond supportively. They trust that that person just wants to make space for what matters, rather than assuming that they're going to go and watch Netflix. And that person then feels that trust, and they feel respected, and they know that they can trust their managers back. And when you start to build trust like this, people feel empowered and respected, and the two-way trust, it can stretch even further. So, for example, we trust our team with the freedom and responsibility to structure their own work days. We're free to listen to when our body or our brain needs a break or a change of scene. I'm off making another cup of tea all the time. Even before the pandemic, we were free to work from anywhere, like, as long as we got the job done. We're free to decide when to go offline for a bit, turn off our emails, away from our distractions, and get some deep work or thinking done. We're free to choose what projects to focus on that day. And we entrust all of this freedom as long as, and here comes the responsibility bit, as long as the needs of the business and our clients are met, and as long as we maintain trust and respect and good communications with our teammates. And then as a manager, your job becomes a lot more interesting as well, because instead of spending your precious time tracking pointless inputs like the hours that your team are spending in their inboxes, instead of that, you're looking at the outputs, you're setting the course, you're defining the outcomes to aim for, you're tracking projects and goals. And that's much more interesting, and it's also much more productive use of your time as a manager. And the whole of Think Productive is empowered to make space for what matters. By the way, for years we've had no meetings Wednesdays, so that we all have a day of protected time for focused project work. So we make space for the good work, for the fulfilling work, the work that creates impact and value, the process improvements, the innovation, the strategic thinking, but also always making space for the personal. Rest and recovery time with Toby the cat. So the 4-day week has opened the door to this culture of impact thinking, of trust and freedom and responsibility. It's opened the door to a culture of making space for what matters. It's a culture where engaged, happy teams thrive. And you don't need, as we've been saying, you don't need a 4-day week to make this happen, but you do need to build the trust, one interaction at a time. I'll say it again. It's been win-win for the business and for us, the people. And it feels this good. This is a real picture of me holding some satisfying slime on a Friday. Actually, if we're getting technical, this is called unicorn poo. But anyway, I digress. I'm sure some of you have heard in the news just this week that the Spanish government has announced it's going to launch the pilot of a 4-day week. It's like a three-year pilot where they're going to financially support companies in like a risk-free trial, which is just brilliant. Like, go Spain. I think there's like a genuine opportunity now, as many of us move into fully remote or hybrid working, something that was inconceivable to many companies and managers and people just 12 months ago, there's an opportunity now to introduce more flexible, more trusting, more people first practices that help us all to make space for what matters, to get the good work done and to live a more balanced life with less risk of burnout, regardless of how many days we're working. And this is the way that things are moving anyway. You know, we've been saying this for a few years now. It's just happening a lot faster than anyone could have imagined. And, you know, you don't want to be left behind. So to start making a change in the right direction, we'd love to leave you all with a challenge. Okay, so of course, we all have differing levels of autonomy over our time at work, yeah? But everybody has some level of autonomy, even if it's just an hour of your day that you can control yourself. What you do with that 1 hour can make a huge difference. So we'd love you to take a minute now to reflect on one small change you can make from today to make space for what matters. And when you've thought of something, please do share it in the chat for everyone. That's your accountability right there. Go for it. We'll give you a minute to think.
We've got Hannah saying she's going to try the no meetings day.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, wow. Have a life day. That sounds cool. Kirsty already does no meetings Fridays.
Skipping unnecessary meetings. It's a good one. John said he's going to move to a 4-day week as of the 1st of April.
Yeah, I mean, is that as a result of today? I feel like, wow, that's a great presentation, guys. Yeah, brilliant. Work on one thing rather than several. Yes, multitasking is a myth. Yeah. More time for a bath. Oh, I'm so rubbish at finding time for a bath. I think yeah, maybe I should write that one down myself. Oh, brilliant. Thanks, guys. Keep them coming. I'm gonna over to Jess now. I'm gonna hand over to Jess for the Q&A. But this is absolutely brilliant, and yeah, we're very excited for you. Let's go. We can do this. Yeah, take those lunch breaks. Definitely.
Cool. So just before we get started with the Q&A in a couple of minutes, there was just a couple of things that we wanted to share. So if you have been thinking throughout this webinar, you know, you'd love to learn a little bit more about how to get on top of all your distractions, you're feeling quite overwhelmed, you're not sure how to start making space for what matters. We do have a public workshop coming up. It's our full day How to Be a Productivity Ninja workshop with one of our brilliant ninjas, Hayley Watts. So it's a deep dive, full day session, really practical and hands-on. You get a 10% off code. I am going to paste the link in the chat. There we go, to the Eventbrite. And we do have early bird tickets available till the end of this week, and your discount code works on them as well. So if you want to dive into this stuff a little bit more, then that is a great place to start. And then if you're thinking, you know, I would like to get my whole organization thinking about how to make space for what matters, then our sort of 90-minute interactive seminar, The Way of the Productivity Ninja, is a great place to start. It will really help you to start that conversation with your colleagues and start changing the culture within your organization. So if you want to know about that, just go to our website or drop us an email. And then we do.
Sorry, did you want to show the email for a bit longer?
Yeah, just hello at thinkproductive.co.uk. I'll post it in the chat as well.
Okay.
They are all on the website, Amy. And then we do also have our 4-day week internal manifesto. So this is our 4-day week recipe for success. So if you do want a copy of this, you want to send it to your manager, or you'd like to look over how we have done all this, and just drop me or Elena an email, and we'll put our emails up at the end and we'll send you a copy of it. And yes, so now onto your questions. So if you do have any questions, just drop them into the Q&A. So let's have a look. We have, yes, so Wendy, we will send round a recording of the webinar. So that will go up on our YouTube channel, and it will be in the follow-up email, the link to that. Let's see. So is it important that everyone is off on the same day? I guess it wouldn't work so well if people had different days off. What do you think, Elena?
Sorry, is it important that, I don't think it is important that it's the same day. We chose Fridays because for us it's a quieter day. We tend to get less incoming emails and requests from clients and stuff, so it just felt naturally like the best day for us. It has meant that there's the extra challenge of, okay, how do we cover for each other when we all want the same day off? And so I understand that's not possible for a lot of companies, but we did want to, you know, we did review this recently and thought, look, Friday's still the most natural day for us to do, because if we tried a different day, there'd be so much more catching up to do on the other days, and a lot more of covering of each other. So yeah, that's why our secret Fridays have been really nice, because when we've had like a really small team, it's still meant that we can still have our Fridays off, but we've still got cover for clients. Hopefully that answers your question. I think, you know, we can only speak from our experience, and I think, you know, for a couple of years, I think Graham was taking Mondays off because it suited him. And that's another thing, like, for this really to work, you really need your managers to be role modeling. So if you know, if your manager's saying they want to do the 4-day week, they've got to do the 4-day week. They can't just say they're doing it and then send people emails on a Friday and like still do work on a Friday, because then you're sending the message. Firstly, you're sending the message out that you don't trust your team to get on with things in your absence. You're not giving them the opportunity to challenge themselves, make decisions in your absence, you know, to grow, but also you're just not trusting them. That's the message you're sending. And you're also saying, oh, I'm too important and busy to take this time off. The 4-day week's a lovely idea, but not if you want to do well in your career. So who's going to want to do it properly if they're seeing their manager role modeling it, you know, badly? So I would say that's really critical. Yeah.
Got a question here from Martin in the chat. So how do you stop the, I know you're not working today, but questions and requests creeping in? For me personally, I just wouldn't reply until I was back at work. So it really depends what the requests are. But for me, it was learning how to say no effectively. And then, you know, if people know, oh, if I message Jess on a Friday, I'm not going to get a response till Monday because she's off. If you start modeling that behavior, then hopefully people will start to understand that, you know, they can message you when you're off, but you're not going to reply.
And you're talking about emails there, Jess, right?
Yes. Yeah. I suppose it depends if you're getting phone calls and things.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally, because Graham, our founder, like, so he might message me on a Friday just because, you know, we're friends and we chat and stuff, but he might ask me a work thing, and I literally will say, and, you know, I'll say, Graham, I'm not working today, just reminding you, can we talk about this next week? So sometimes we need reminding, but often not really, like we know now. But if it's like a real emergency, then we know what, we've got a comms manifesto, and we know if it's a real emergency, like we pick up the phone and we ring, or we get in touch that way. But they're very rare, like, really. So I guess what's important is to get everyone on board and get those managers trained up so they're not setting the example of like sending emails and texting and WhatsApping when they shouldn't be.
A question here from Kirsty. So how does this work with part-time staff? I work 6-hour days and only get paid for that.
That's a really good question. I would say with part-timers, since the history of time, the dawn of time, part-timers have been, they know this stuff. They know that you've got to be really focused and ruthless in a good way. Yeah. They know that. So the only thing I would do differently we don't have part-timers at the moment on the team, but what I would do differently is just maybe take a bit of the pressure off, because part-time roles are really intense, right? Sorry, who's the name of the lady who asked the question? Kirsty, yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, is your role quite intense? Like part-time work tends to be quite intense because you're there for like a certain number of days and that's it, and you feel like, oh God, I've got to get all this done, I've got to be really productive. But what we would suggest is try and release some of that pressure on the part-timers, encourage them to take breaks as well during the day, because your brain needs a break, and you think more clearly, you make better decisions, and so encourage those breaks, but also encourage that impact thinking. So even if you're only working 1 day a week, like give yourself 20 minutes or whatever to just take a step back and think strategically. Okay, is this the best use of my time right now, or shall I just ask my manager, what do I need to drop to make this other thing happen? Help me prioritize. So that's what I would suggest. Yeah, manage expectations effectively.
Cool.
Hope that helps, Kirsty.
Cool. So let's see what other questions we've got here. So Kathy asked, how long has Think Productive been running, and did we do a 4-day week from the start? Go on, Elena, because you were there
I've got the answer to that. Yeah. So it was founded in 2009, and I joined in 2011, and we didn't have the 4-day week when I joined, but about 6 months later, Graham had the idea that he wanted to just experiment, and he'd seen a couple of other companies out there doing it. There weren't that many at the time, but he was he's still into like experimenting with stuff, and we're like, yeah, definitely want to try this out. So we did a trial. We trialed out first. We did surveys on a 5-day week. We surveyed ourselves at the end of each day, and then at the end of each week, and at the beginning of each week, like asking, just to get a base level of stress, productivity, like how productive we felt we're being, tiredness, energy, all that kind of stuff. And then we did the same for a month on the 4-day week, and we found that we basically wanted to do it. That we felt less stressed, more rested, and happier. So yeah.
Cool. And question here, is there a good argument for a 3-day week?
Well, I've actually, do you mind if I answer this one, Jess?
Yeah, no, go for it.
I've actually been working 2-day a week over the last few months that we're homeschooling again, and a 2-day week in what is usually a 4-day week role, 2-day week with a few hours here and there at the beginning of the day. But I'd say, if there's people that talk about the 3-day week being the future, and like, what's the point of 4-day? It's going to be 3-day week eventually, whatever. Fine, I think it depends on the role. I've been, as I said, I've just been doing it, and it does take a lot of kind of boundary setting and being ruthless, like to the extreme. And, you know, it was really good for me. Like I got even better at delegating, you know, with certain things that you find difficult delegating. You know, I was just like, I've got to do it now. And it actually, I saw the team kind of stepping up and shining more because they were doing stuff that I would normally do. You know, it was brilliant in a way. Not in a way, it definitely was. But it was like intense, and I'm so grateful schools are back. Yeah, so it can be done.
Cool. And so Colin's asked how many hours a week we work. So 9 to 5:30 minus lunch is 7.5 hours, times 4 is 30 hours. Colin works 35-hour weeks and would have to put the 5 hours through the 4 days somewhere. So
right.
We did used to work longer days, Monday to Thursday. So we did use some of those hours throughout the week, and it was recently when was it, about a year ago?
About a year and a half ago, we reviewed it again. And yeah,
do you want to
no you
that?
You go. Well, unless you want me to, you go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, you could do it that way. So our original model was working sort of 9 till 6 Monday to Thursday with the extra Friday, so that the 1 Friday and 4 does count for some of those hours that you'd work over a month as well. So you could add the extra hours there somewhere. Yeah,
just to explain our original model, we had a couple of team members that wanted to stick to 5 days a week. So we had a hybrid model for quite a lot of, I think it was 7 years. And we wanted it to be really fair, so we worked out the number of hours per year that the 5-day weekers were doing, and we shared that out for the 4-day weekers. We spread it across the 4 days and the secret Friday, so it meant slightly longer days. But the longer days, like a few of us enjoyed them, like the momentum of the longer day, but it wasn't for everyone. And then, you know, more recently, is a year and a half ago, we found ourselves with the whole team was on the 4-day week, and we're like, look, we're all on the 4-day week now, why don't we just go down to shorter days? We know the brain doesn't function as well if you're just working all day like that for so long. Let's just be a 4-day week employer. Anyone new comes along with this is what we're offering, you know. So yeah, really long hour there. Really long. I'm trying to read it. So really long answer there. I forgot what the question is.
That's why multitasking is bad for you.
Oh dear.
So that's a nice stopping point. We're officially at the end of our Q&A, which is right on time. So we will officially say our goodbyes and thank you all, but we'll hang around for, you know, for the next 10 or so minutes and answer any more burning questions that you all have. But thank you so much for all your brilliant questions and, you know, comments in the chat. It's been really interesting to see where you all are and what you're going to try next.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and for really getting involved with the questions and the comments. Brilliant. Thank you. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Yeah, so we're going to stick around for a bit.
Cool. So I don't know if I can't see if Matthew's still here, but there was a good question here. Do the benefits continue once this is embedded and people are used to having a 4-day week? So how do you stop how do you stop old habits from slipping back in?
Oh wow, well, I think it's so part of the culture. It's like part of our DNA to make space what matters and ask those questions. And when we do start to feel like overwhelmed, you know, we'll just ask each other, have you reviewed your projects? Are you taking a step back? Is there anything you can renegotiate with yourself? So we help each other out the whole time, because, you know, we're human. But yeah, we don't slip into working longer hours or over weekends or checking emails in the evening. Like we just don't do that. Like, of course, this year has been unusual and we've had to fit in work where we can. But yeah, we're pretty good at sticking to it. Yeah.
Cool. Any more questions? There's just one here. Are staff still paid full-time hours? So yes, we are. We didn't drop salary or our holiday at all?
Yeah, I was thinking about it over lunch actually, that with the part-time question as well, because people do ask about that. Just that the 4-day week, like we pay our basically a full-time work for us is 4 days, and no one questions a full-time week being 5 days. Like, oh, why aren't you paying 7 days? You know, the Saturday and Sunday. You know, a full-day week for us is 4 days, and that's what we pay. We pay full week, full time.
Yeah. Let's do one more. So Teresa,
that makes sense in my head. I don't know if I said it clear. You know.
Challenging the status quo. Who says that full-time is 5 days? Full-time could be 4 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Teresa's interested to know how you improve the handovers between team members with different Fridays off. So with our business continuity point, I think there.
Yeah. Well, Jess, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so this mainly revolved around sort of our logistics for our clients. That's like a very big piece of our work. And so we want to make sure that whoever is, you know, helping our clients can step straight in on a Friday. If I'm off or if Elena's off, then anyone can jump in and help our clients without having to, you know, retrain how to do a different role. So we just really refined the process to make it much clearer for everybody what stage of the process each workshop's at, and who the best person to speak to is. So we have really detailed SOPs that are clear and easy to pick up, like everybody knows where it is. And we have automated workflows that, so if you are working on a Friday, you know, you just have an email in your inbox from our CRM that says these are the 3 things that need to be done today. So it just makes it much easier to hand over when you're off on a Friday.
Can I add also, when I'm covering for logistics or what have you, it's also what's helpful is that I'll make a note of stuff that I got stuck with and that would be helpful, that's missing from the handover or whatever, and I will give that to the person responsible on the Monday. And if it's Jess, like, she'll just take that feedback and be like, oh yeah, of course, that would be helpful to know, and incorporates it into the process or the SOP or whatever. So it's just you know, we have a good kind of feedback loop, and we're open to, because we understand what it's like to cover for each other. So yeah, we don't see it as an attack on how we're doing our job or not, you know, how that good the handover was. It's just a process of improving things, right?
Yeah, especially when you've done a role for so long, you know it, you know, like the back of your hand. You don't have to think about the next step. So when you have somebody coming at that from a fresh perspective, it will just help you see your blind spots. So it's helped us.
Yeah,
and it really
exactly.
helps with onboarding as well. If we get new members of the team, you know, we've done all that thinking, we know exactly every single step of the process. But also when we onboard people, we want them to give us feedback that we haven't thought about as well. So we're just constantly asking for feedback and improving all of our processes. Cool. I think that's it for questions.
Yeah. Should we let everyone go and enjoy their Fridays now?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Well, that was amazing. Everybody. Yeah. Thanks for all the engagement. It's brilliant. Just love reading all the chat. Yeah. So this will be up on YouTube.
Yes.
Today.
Yeah, hopefully by the end of the day,
or if not Monday.
Cool.
Okay. Great.
Thanks everyone.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.